So, Stephen, I know talking to you over many, many years that you've always considered the Prius as your kind of high-tech car, as your showcase flagship car.
Yeah, it's been that all the way along. It went from that very first generation that nobody had ever thought about before to one that through successive generations has introduced new technology to our lineup, and it's happening again for the fourth generation.
And you never thought that the Prius would be as mainstream as it became. And part of that happened in Vancouver, where you're holding your Canadian launch around taxis, right? Can you give us that story? Because it's a fun story.
Well, that's the point. And that's, of course, one of the reasons we're here is that Vancouver, in many respects, was the place that allowed Prius to break through into the mainstream. And it happened because we had one cabbie out here who decided that he was going to take a flyer on this new technology. Thought about the possibility that saving gas was going to help save his budget, but also that it was the right thing to do to move to something that was more environmentally conscious, and frankly that would help his marketing. It was going to stand out in the crowd. Now, if you drove a Prius in the taxi fleet today, that's not going to make you stand out in Vancouver.
It would stand out if you didn't have a Prius.
Pretty much. And but at the time, it was a very strange thing to do, and what happened was he became sort of an evangelist for it as he discovered, one, just how much he could save by driving this car in heavy use in the city, but two, just how it stood up over time too.
And wasn't it Toyota wanted to get it back just to see how it weared in the marketplace? It's your heavy users, and it did well, right?
Yeah, well, and we did. We bought the first vehicle back from him because he was able to put more miles or kilometers on the vehicle than we could ever do. I mean, we bench test and so forth, but when a taxi's running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, you put on a lot of distance very rapidly.
And now you go to markets like New York City where they mandate hybrid vehicles as part of their taxi fleet. So that was really the real world test that people kind of look to say, well, it's okay. If it can stand up in the taxi every day, it's going to be a good car. And now it's mainstream. To the point that you don't even notice them anymore.
Well, it's mainstream to a degree. I mean, we've worked very hard to bring hybrid technology into the marketplace. Toyota accounts for roughly 70% of all hybrid sales in Canada, but it's still a relatively small slice of the marketplace, and that can't happen or can't continue to happen if we're going to meet our long-term GHG reduction targets. So by the middle of the century, we're saying we want to remove about 90% of the greenhouse gas from our fleet. If that's going to happen, it's going to be some very high-tech vehicles. It'll be fuel cells, it'll be plug-in electrics, and a whole bunch of other things. But you can't get there without hybrids becoming standard fare across our lineup. And that happens two ways. It happens because you're bringing hybrid technology to vehicles like RAV4, the hot market segment, the sort of value proposition that I think a lot of Canadians are looking for. But it also happens because you make driving a hybrid stylish and aspirational and fun. And I think we were successful in doing that early on with Prius, and I hope that what people are going to see in this new one is a whole new sense of style and just some killer technology that they won't see on any other vehicle.
All right, let's start with style, because it's a bit of a shock when you see it. From the front, I think it looks fantastic, and the silhouette is obvious that it's a Prius, but the back is really quite edgy and avant-garde and fashion-forward. Now, in my experience, having done this for a quarter century now, cars that have that initially on the road, after about 2-3 months, they just become part of the vehicular landscape. So that initial sort of, what is that? It just becomes normal. But you really think that this is a centerpiece, the back of the car and the design that it has, right?
Yeah, I think if you look at the LED tail lamps on this vehicle and the sort of zigzag flare that we've put to it, the first time that you see those come on in front of you in traffic at night, I think you're just going to be incredibly impressed by the look of the car. And, what that disguises is the fact that we've actually made some changes in the basic design of the vehicle. We've made it a little more planted. We've changed the rear suspension, which gives you more storage capacity in the back. It's just across the board a better vehicle than anything we've delivered in the lineup before.
I have always been on record as saying that I found the Prius kind of hard work to drive sometimes. You had to really anticipate, acceleration and passing, and it was a bit of work to get the most out of it. I find this particular model, having driven it this morning, it's much easier to live with every single day. The ride is, it just drives like a regular car now. It's quieter. The seats are wonderfully comfortable. The dash is, even though it still has its unique design with the center pod, it's a little bit more conventional materials in here, not the super lightweight plastics that you had before. So is that what you're trying to get across? Is a more of a mainstream car, not as hard to live with every day, make it just easier to own?
Well, absolutely. But even in the first generation, what we knew was that to that point, every one of those tech-forward alternative energy vehicles tended to be sort of put on the side by consumers, even in a fleet situation where people had their choice of the vehicles to take out. Any little aspect of running the car that was different from the normal driving experience caused some people to walk away from it. And so it was important for us when we launched the first one to be able to say, okay, get in, drive it, come back, tell us what you think. And for the most part, people go, well, okay, you've got more computer technology there than it took to put, human beings on the moon. But I get it. It's a car, and I don't have to feel it differently, and it, performs kind of the way that I'm used to expecting it from a vehicle. But what we've done over subsequent generations, and I think has really come through in this one, is we've removed all of the differences between that driving experience of advanced technology and conventional cars. And at the same time, we've added a lot of new features that start to expand the boundaries in other ways, particularly around safety.
Yeah, you've got your Toyota Safety Sense, which is a suite of advanced safety technology like forward collision warning and mitigation, lane departure warning and automatic correction, active cruise control, and all those sorts of things. So you've packaged it on top of your Star Safety system, and this is going to be more commonplace with Toyota, right?
Yeah, so you're going to start to see that bundle of features go right across our lineup by the end of 2017. In the meantime, we're adding it as an option package on higher level trims on our cars. But with Prius, we've even gone beyond that. So it's not just the lane keep assist, it's not just the advanced pre-collision and pedestrian detection and all of that stuff. We've also added some low-speed braking, obstruction.
So if you're in an underground parking lot and there's a pole there, the vehicle will steer you so you don't hit it, right?
Right. So for example, on the high-end tech package, we've augmented the intelligent parking assist so that the vehicle will park itself, but it also has sufficient intelligence to know, based on the travel of the vehicle, what obstacles inside that parking lot are potentially a problem for the car, and to help you mitigate against any collision. It'll brake automatically if it senses that you're in an imminent slow-speed collision in a parking lot. It
saves you money in the long run because you're not going to have to get the bumpers painted.
It saves you money, but it also enormously increases safety because so many of the collisions that take place in cars happen in low speed in parking lots.
Yeah, and someone walks behind you, you don't see them. I had that happen to me the other day. Someone almost ran into me. So the car would stop on your behalf.
Yeah, so that's the issue. Is we're trying more and more to have those sorts of systems that extend the capability of the driver. It's not about taking control away from you. It's about just making you, a better, safer driver while being in control of the vehicle.
You know what's interesting? We haven't talked once yet about what?
Well, fuel
economy.
Right.
And that's interesting because everybody expects this car is going to be good on fuel.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, is that the name Prius is synonymous with superior fuel economy, and we've taken it the next step over the previous generation, which is what you'd expect from us. But it's not just about fuel economy. If that's all that the vehicle offered at a time when we have record low fuel prices,
you wouldn't sell.
I don't think that's a very compelling argument for the consumer, right?
Yeah.
So of course we have to give you, the things that the Toyota's known for, which is quality, durability, and reliability. We have to give you the things that Prius is known for, which is exceptional fuel economy, an unbelievable action to reduce emissions. But you got to take it to the next step, and it's got to be the sort of vehicle that people want to own, want to drive, want to spend their money to buy. And that's why some of these new technologies, it's why the new driving stance of the car, the new handling of the car, it's why the comfort of the seats, it's why
the seats are much better.
Why all of this package comes together.
Because that's something basic. You know, the seat, the comfort of the seat. Right. That's what you interact with the most. So that's very important. Has RAV4 hybrid done better than you had thought? It's only been out for 2 months, I think.
Yeah, it's only been out for a couple of months now, but it is rolling out faster than we expected. We've just gone through the first month of the sales year, and Toyota sales are up. The rest of the industry is also seeing some increases, but our hybrid sales overall were up 30% over the previous January.
And that's on the back of that new model, I guess.
It's on the back of RAV. It's on the back of a lot of success with Prius C recently in the cities. And it's just, I think, a heightened awareness by drivers that they can have it all and at an affordable price from us.
Oh, one last thing before we go. You can get two different kinds of batteries. You get your nickel metal hydride battery, which the Prius has had, and you can also get a lithium ion battery depending on the grade. So the base model gets the older battery style, and the two other packages. I got a tractor trailer right beside us, and two other packages get the lithium ion. Why is that?
Right. Well, the batteries give you exactly the same performance in terms of fuel economy. But the issue with nickel metal hydride is that it is a little bulkier and doesn't have quite the energy density of lithium ion. Flip side is it's less expensive and it's extremely durable. So our standpoint on this one was if we can hit our fuel economy and emissions targets, then really we can give you a choice. We can put the nickel metal hydride battery in some of the vehicles. As we go to higher level cars, we're adding more features, but we're also adding more weight. And as we do that, it makes sense to swap in the lithium ion battery because that gives us the greater energy density. It reduces weight and allows you to compensate for those other features.
Because the output is the same.
The output's the same.
All right, Stephen, thank you for your time. Best of luck with the new Prius. And it's interesting to see, as you mentioned, with the low fuel prices, that you have a car that you're hoping to appeal to people who maybe had never considered a hybrid.
Right. And, I think this is the first time we've done an interview with a tractor trailer threatening to roll over us, but we made it out.
Yeah. I think hopefully he's waiting for us to leave. Thanks for your time.
Thanks a bunch.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe. To watch a full-length review of the all-new Toyota Prius, click the picture on the left.